Hello, Sun City residents. This is Rusty Bradshaw, and I'm here to give you some highlights from the legislative forum that was conducted yesterday at the Posse headquarters here in Sun City. Attending were Arizona State Representative David Livingston, Arizona State Senator Frank Corral, and Maricopa County District 4 Supervisor Debbie Lesko. As some of you recall, I'm sure, Debbie has been in the state legislature before, and she was also our U.S. Congresswoman, and now she's back representing this area with the county supervisors. Mr. Livingston and Mr. Corral are veterans of the Arizona State Legislature, having served in several terms. To begin with, Ms. Lesko talked about her role as a supervisor, and she equated it to being like the mayor of the Sun Cities, since the Sun Cities they're not incorporated cities. They're unincorporated areas of Maricopa County. Therefore, the Sun Cities fall under the county for their government. District 4 is a large area. Ms. Lesko said she represents up to 960,000 people in the West Valley. She noted that Maricopa County is the fourth largest county in the country by population, and it's the third largest in terms of registered voters. Ms. Lesko talked about the fact that one of her top priorities is to make sure that people in the Sun Cities are protected, not just in the Sun Cities, but throughout her district, although municipalities within the district will take care of law enforcement protection in those communities. In the Sun Cities and in other unincorporated areas, the Sheriff's Department is the law enforcement agency. However, Ms. Lesko also pointed out that the Melendrez case against the Sheriff's Department, which originated when Joe Arpaio was sheriff, which alleged that he and his deputies racially profiled Hispanic people by pulling them over and checking their immigration status and so on and so forth. That lawsuit has cost the county $300 million so far. And part of that is the Judge Snow, ordered that the county lease a building outside of the county to house all the monitors that are double checking that they're following the mandates of the judge's ruling. However, those monitors rarely use that building, and the county has asked that they be allowed to use some already county-owned buildings within Maricopa County, and the judge has said no. So we will probably continue to be throwing away money on this monitoring and so forth. Ms. Lesko said another one of her priorities is to find out if the elections in Maricopa County are done properly. That is something that all the supervisors want to do, and they approved an audit of the election system in the county. They're not doing an audit of previous elections, but they're auditing the system to make sure it's done. That, at this point, is out for public bid. Senator Corral mentioned that 1,700 bills were introduced in the 2025 legislature, and that 90 are still going through the system. He has a bill that's back in the legislature that deals with the sober living homes in the county. And they're hoping with this bill to reduce or eliminate fraud in those sober living homes. And there is also a bill that is addressing title fraud, where people steal your home title. Representative Livingston talked a great deal about Governor Katie Hobbs and her obstruction of the process and mishandling finances. She said there are 3 programs that seem to be pet programs of the governor's that have all run out of money. Mr. Livingston has done some work with the budgets and fixed the financing for 2 of those agencies. A third ran out of money halfway through the 3rd term of the fiscal year, which ends at the end of this month. And to take care of that, according to Mr. Livingston, the governor took money from the 4th term or 4th quarter, moved it into the 3rd quarter. Now there's no money for that particular agency for the 4th quarter of the year. And Mr. Livingston is working on trying to fix that as well. And he also added that that particular agency was budgeted to have $13 million, but the governor has spent $120 million on that particular agency. And that agency deals with disability for children. Okay, and a couple of other issues that were touched on during the legislative forum. Someone asked about the door-to-door soliciting and if anything could be done about that. And both state legislators said they needed to do some study on that to see what could and couldn't be done. He was also asked if anything could be done to get the nonprofit organizations who do not pay taxes to pony up so that agencies like the Sun City Fire and Medical District would get more revenue from those agencies. And what happens is if a nonprofit organization buys a piece of land in the county, that tax revenue goes away because they're nonprofit, they're now no longer obligated to pay the property taxes. That diminishes the amount available for the fire district. Mr. Livingston said that there's a problem with trying to get nonprofits to pay property taxes because where do you draw the line? Do you make churches pay property tax? And he named a number of other nonprofits that could be caught in that situation that maybe shouldn't be. He did say, though, that fire districts need more money and that the legislature just needs to figure out how to do that. At this point, they don't know what the best solution would be. Ms. Lesko said that when she was in the legislature, districts came to her to complain about going to facilities for service that don't pay taxes. She said that things, if there was a solution, it had to be done at the state level rather than the county level. Mr. Livingston also said that the state should look at the ability for fire districts to get grant money, which at this point they cannot. It was also asked what could be done about the homeless and the high drug use in the Sun Cities. Ms. Lesko said she's been trying to have a meeting with other agencies to try and find solutions to the addictions and the homeless and the panhandlers in the community. Mr. Corral said all those issues are solvable, but ACLU lawsuits from the 60s and 70s make it difficult. It was also asked what can be done to increase pay for sheriff's deputies to keep them from going to other departments, much like the fire district, which is fighting to keep their personnel because they're going to agencies that have more money available plus lower call volume. And the legislators said they would address that when they go to do the budgets. That was Ms. Lesko, by the way. She said they would address that when they go to do the budget for the county. And she does want to raise salaries for those officers. Mr. Livingston agreed the salary should be higher, but he also said that salary increases should be based on merit. And those are the highlights from the Legislative Forum. The forums are co-sponsored by the Sun City Homeowners Association and PORA of Sun City West, and they will continue to do those on a monthly basis. Thank you for watching.